Welcome, and here we are again on the sofa with Smithstone Waters, joined by Alistair Mason, who I think when we were last here we were talking about what was going to be the new skilled worker immigration system, which has now obviously been live for quite some time. Well, today, slightly different, we're going to be focusing on the UK immigration fee regime, so the fees that the government charge both for individual applicants and for corporations when they use the immigration service. Alistair, we know that the UK's visa fee regime is one of the most expensive in the world, and some would say extortionate, really, as far as the application fees and various fees that there are concerned. Can you tell us what the companies and applicants are actually paying for?
Okay, so focusing on the work-based category, the skilled worker visa, there are several fees that you have to pay as part of an application. Some are payable by the employer, the sponsor, some are payable by the individual. And you could broadly split them along the following lines. You've got the immigration skills charge, the COS fee, certificate of sponsorship fee, bundle those two together, they're normally payable at the same time. You then have a visa fee, what you'd expect really, you're paying for the visa that you get endorsed with. And then you also have an NHS fee, or the immigration health surcharge as it's known, which ensures your access to the NHS. You also have many other additional fees that are sort of supplementary to the visa process itself. Okay,
so numerous fees then, so you wouldn't just go onto a system and see one fee for a visa and think home and dry, that's what it is. You have to take into account a whole number of different types of fee.
Exactly. Different types of fee payable at different times, and then they will vary considerably depending on the nature of the application. So there isn't a one-size-fits-all model. It's what are your personal circumstances, and these are the different fees that you will pay throughout your application.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned there the ISC, the Immigration Skills Charge, and the COS Certificate of Sponsorship. Can we unpick those a little bit and look at those values?
Okay, so first and foremost, they're both payable by your sponsor, your employer more often than not. They can't be passed on to the individual. COS fee, most straightforward one, you pay it when the sponsor is assigning the COS. Most of the time it's £199. There's some nationalities that are exempt from the fee, but it will show you that when you're issuing the COS. The immigration skills charge is slightly more complex. It's only payable by the main applicant, similar to the COS, and it's payable at the time of assigning the COS. There are some categories of person that are exempt from it. So if you are being sponsored by a charity, you're exempt. Certain roles in the UK at PhD level are also exempt. And then finally, some individuals who didn't previously pay the fee, they're also exempt from it. But otherwise, the immigration skills charge, it's based upon the duration of your visa, or the duration of your COS, to be precise. And it's payable on an annual rate. So if I have a 3-year visa, I would pay either £1,000 or £364 for every year of my visa. And I pay that rate up front. So 3 times 1,000, I pay the 3,000 all up front. If I'm only getting a year-long visa, it will be £1,000. Now, I mentioned 2 rates there, getting into some detail here, but the 2 rates, you've got £1,000 and 364. Depending on the size of your sponsor, you will pay either or. And the size of your sponsor is denoted on their license. If they're a medium or large company, you pay the higher rate, £1,000 a year. If they're a small company, and that is confirmed on their license, you pay the lower rate of 364. I say you, going back, this is the sponsor that pays these fees. They cannot be passed on to the individual. So you've got exempt, 364 per year of visa, or £1,000 per year of visa for the skills charge, and 199 for the COS, or exempt.
Okay, understood. So, I mean, when companies are budgeting for their immigration costs, the actual length of the period of time that the assignee or the employee is coming to the UK for has a big impact on the amount of the fee.
Yeah, absolutely. The COS fee is never going to change. That's always going to be the same regardless of duration. But the immigration skills charge, or the ISC, a 1-year visa, £1,000. 5-year visa, which is the maximum duration, £5,000. So huge variation. So companies will often model that based upon previous years and what they've given to their relocating employees.
Okay. So thank you. So that's immigration skills charge and the COS, certificate of sponsorship fee. What about the actual visa fee itself? Is that as expensive these days?
So I guess in comparison to the immigration skills charge, it's relatively small, the visa fee itself. Visa fee would be normally payable after these 2 initial fees during the skilled worker process. So you have your sponsor issuing you with a certificate of sponsorship, and then you take that certificate of sponsorship and apply for your visa wherever you may be in the world. And at that point, you're going to pay your visa fee, normally online. Often people pay by credit card or debit card, whatever it may be. And the visa fee, it's split in 2. You either pay one fee if you're applying for a visa of 3 years and under, or another fee if you're applying for a visa of over 3 years. And quite simply, it's doubled. If you go over 3 years, it's doubled. Now, the exact fee will vary based upon a multitude of factors. So where you're applying from. If you're applying from inside the UK, it's slightly higher than if you're applying from outside the UK. But then the UK government imposes exchange rates upon the fees paid overseas. So again, that will vary slightly depending on the exchange rate and where you're applying from. The type of role you're coming to do in the UK, that will impact it. Certain roles receive a fee reduction. Your nationality, if you're European, from certain European nationalities, you get a fee reduction. By and large, the 2 fees can be split inside and outside the UK. Inside the UK, the fee that you would normally pay would be in the region of £700. That's for up to a 3-year visa. If you go above 3 years, you'll double that fee. Then you add on all the possible reductions, etc. Outside the UK, it's roughly £600, but then you add on all the reductions as well, and of course doubling it if you go over 3 years. So those are the traditional visa fees, and they're payable by the main applicant and the family members in the same format. So there isn't certain fees that are only applicable to the main applicant and not the family. It's all applicable on the same level.
So if you're a family of 5 and you're coming for over 3 years, that's ratcheting up a considerable sum.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are often the fees that will be borne by the applicant directly. So if you're fortunate enough to have an employer that will pay them on your behalf, fantastic. But these are fees that can be legally passed on to the individual, and many employers choose to do that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we've covered the 3 of the major fees so far there, but let's talk about healthcare and the IHS fee.
Okay, so the IHS, or Immigration Health Surcharge, it's payable when you submit your application as well, and it's payable by everyone, regardless of whether you ever use the NHS, or you have private healthcare, or you're a taxpayer in the UK. You still have to pay the IHS when you submit your visa application. It's normally taken at or around the point of paying the visa fee itself. It's gone up considerably in recent years. Started at being non-existent, and then it went to £200, £400. It's now £624 for every year of your visa. And again, you denote the period that you're applying for, and you pay it all up front. So if you're applying for a 5-year visa, you're going to pay over £3,000 up front. Dependents also have to pay the fee. If you're a dependent under the age of 18, you pay a reduced fee of £470 per year of your visa. But if you're a spouse, normally over the age of 18, you'll be paying the full £624. So chunky fees. A family of 5, just for the health surcharge, you're looking at close to £10,000.
Wow. So even if a family have the most extensive private healthcare, they would still have to pay the IHS fee.
It's a blocker. You can't proceed past go and get to your visa application without paying that fee. it gives you access to the NHS as a British citizen would have on the same level. But yeah, it doesn't change anything, that the fact that you never use the NHS, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. So that's 4 of the major fees covered, and the numbers are really racking up very, very high, especially for long-term moves and large families. But is that it, or are there any additional fees as well?
In a word, yes. In a few more words, there's lots. So where do I start? You could probably list off 20 additional fees that you could come across during your visa application process. So the ones we talked about are the ones you cannot get away with. You have to pay those fees as part of the skilled worker visa in particular. But then things that you might add on. So let's start with you need to show English language when you apply for a skilled worker visa. If you don't fulfill it for one of the other reasons like passport or previous degree, etc., then you might have to go and take a test. Immediately, possible £50 for a test. Maybe you need to get your marriage certificate translated, or your birth certificates for your children translated. They need to be done by an authorised translator, another fee. Courier fees to and from the consulate. So there's all these different fees that you can add on depending on your circumstances. Let's say you live in the south of France. Well, there's only one visa application centre in France, and it's in Paris. So you either have to travel there and back again, or you pay for a courier to pick up your passport. There are other fees to expedite applications as well, charged by UKVI. So you can pay, outside the UK, it's normally £220, you get a quicker decision. And inside the UK, there are various tiers of payment, depending on how quickly you want your decision, up to 800, the max. So yeah, I'm here, I'm reeling off lots of different options, but as you can see, it's almost like an airline. You can add on different things on top of your visa and the fee keeps on growing. So you buy a flight ticket, you get your seat, but if you want additional things, the more fees that arise.
Okay, so extra leg room with your visa is going to cost you.
Exactly. I would say the most common one that we see is priority processing fees, because who wants to wait, inside the UK months for a visa? People will often expedite it. You can't get around translation and English language fees. And then finally, inside the UK, you have to give your biometrics, your fingerprints and your photo at a centre, and the centre is run by a third party. And quite often they will charge an additional fee. There are free slots, but they're very hard to come by. So you often end up paying £100 or so, at least, for those appointments as well.
Okay. Wow. So there you have it. I mean, really sort of in summary, you can see that the fees really do mount up based on the duration of an assignment, the size of a family. They're the two sort of really big factors here. But when you look at sort of a longer move with a number of family members, the numbers of the fees rather are quite eye-watering, and certainly something that you, as an employer, would need to think about in your sort of immigration budget planning stage. So that's great. Thank you, Alistair. It's been really informative, and we look forward to speaking to you again when we unpick our next session on the sofa with Smith Stone Walters. Thank you.
That concludes today's webinar. Thank you for watching, and should you require any further information, please find our website on screen now. For all our webinars, please follow Smith Stone Walters on social media and subscribe on YouTube or Vimeo.